I believe that Caleb Williams is in a class by himself when it comes to quarterbacks in this draft. After finishing my scouting report on Jaden Daniels and Drake Maye, to me it's clear that Caleb Williams sets alone as the top quarterback in this draft class. It's just a fact that quarterback is the hardest position in the NFL to evaluate when it comes from going to college to the NFL. Everyone seems to agree on that. It's the only position that is more mental than physical. You can't see what's in a player's head, which makes the QB position tough to evaluate entering the NFL. These guys need to live and breathe football 24/7, 365 days a year. They need to be mature and lead a locker room full of grown men. They have to study film persistently. Over the years, I've learned a lot about quarterbacks and what translates to the NFL and what doesn't. But it's still not a science, and nobody gets it right every time. Nobody. That's including the so-called experts and the actual GMs and head coaches. This comes into play with my evaluations on Drake Maye and Jaden Daniels. I think 15 years ago I would have easily had Jaden Daniels over Drake Maye. But over the years, seeing the guys who run a lot in college but aren't built to run in the NFL, it just doesn't translate well. Look at a lot of guys like Robert Griffin III, Troy Smith, Vince Young, Andre Ware, and so many others. I relate Jaden Daniels to a lot of those guys. I do not see Lamar Jackson when I watch him. Lamar was the most gifted runner at the quarterback position I've ever seen. Jaden does not touch him in that category, and he's not built to run like that in the NFL, at least in my opinion. Lamar was. But there are similar cautionary tales when it comes to Drake Maye comparisons too. It's not only Justin Herbert and Josh Allen that he shows flashes of. Scouts will talk about shades of other guys like Mitch Trubisky and Sam Darnold in there as well, or even Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson. With quarterbacks, you have to keep watching and keep watching more and more film, and then get to know the person. And to me, it's kind of a feel of what they do and how they inspire their teammates. And then it comes down to how does what they do translate into the NFL game. To me, everything that Caleb Williams does translates to the NFL. He is a pure passer, and as far as I'm concerned, he's both an artist and a surgeon. He's able to create magnificent works of art, but also able to dial it in and dissect the team with pinpoint accuracy. He still has question marks though too, but his question marks are things that I have no doubt he can learn. Caleb didn't take snaps under center, but he already looked comfortable doing so during his drop back at his pro day. Also in the NFL, teams now operate around 70+% of the time out of the shotgun anyway. I don't know how often we really need him under center. But going back to quarterback evaluations overall, I think myself I can be slightly jaded by how underwhelming the 2021 QB class has been. Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields were two of my favorite prospects that I've watched coming from high school to college and then into the NFL over the last 25 years. They were also two of the highest touted QB prospects to come out in a long time. I know a lot of people will say, oh, but Fields was the fourth QB drafted. Anyone who follows college football really closely or year-round knows that Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence were seen as the top two guys since they came out of high school in their respective class. So far in the NFL, neither one of them have lived up to expectations yet. And that's without even mentioning how underwhelming Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, and Trey Lance have been. That was supposed to be one of the best quarterback classes ever, and so far nobody has panned out. Yes, Trevor Lawrence has been pretty good and should get an extension in Jacksonville, but he was supposed to be the next Peyton Manning, and so far he hasn't really lived up to that billing. And as far as Justin Fields, he checked every single box for me as an NFL prospect. People who call him a running back clearly never watched him in college because 90+% of his highlights were throwing the football. Also, I want to bring my guy Adam Mason into this as well. He recently did a deep dive into analytics from these college quarterbacks, and we even had a discussion privately about this quarterback class, and it kind of ties right into what I'm talking about here. When you look at all those same analytics, going back to 2021, Justin Fields was the best passer coming out of the best quarterback class in the last 5 years. How did that translate into the NFL? Anyone who remembers my big Justin Fields video from my first year doing this channel remembers all the stats I brought out about Justin Fields in college. Best quarterback rating from a clean pocket, best accuracy downfield, best tight window throw percentage, best big time throw percentage, best adjusted accuracy percentage, best at throwing past the first down marker, etc., etc., etc. I was loaded with statistical analysis on why Fields would be good in the NFL, and I still fully believe he can be. It's just not going to be with the Chicago Bears. But my point is, we have to continue evolving, especially when it comes to scouting quarterbacks now. Some of the analytics and highlights of past prospects have led me to be more stern in my evaluation on these guys coming out of college. I think a lot of times people overlook the situation guys are put into as well. A quarterback's development is almost entirely dependent on the situation he's put in and how he's developed in the NFL. It's overlooked so much, but the situations these guys are drafted into really does determine their success in the NFL. How many quarterbacks would have had success in the same situation that Justin Fields was put into as a rookie by the Chicago Bears? And how many quarterbacks would have had success being put in the position Zach Wilson was put into with the Jets? Same with Bryce Young last year in Carolina. Would CJ Stroud have been as good if the Panthers took him number one? I don't think so. Look around the NFL. Let's take Justin Herbert, for example, a guy who's had a lot of success, but he also had Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Gerald Everett, Austin Eckler, and a really good offensive line. I believe that had a lot to do with it. Look at Brock Purdy in San Francisco. He has Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, one of the best offensive lines in the league, and Kyle Shanahan calling plays. Yes, I truly believe that Justin Fields would have a ton of success in that situation. Heck, I even think Sam Darnold or Zach Wilson could end up thriving in San Francisco. Where these quarterbacks get drafted or end up playing will at least play a part in how their career unfolds. I don't believe the Commanders, Patriots, or Giants offer close to as good of a situation for a rookie quarterback as we do right now in Chicago. The one team that you could argue has a really good situation and could rival us is the Minnesota Vikings. They have a really good play caller, a good offensive line, and Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison at wide receiver. But they currently don't pick till number 11 overall, even though they are trying to move up for a quarterback. That's no secret. A lot of people have tried to thrive off dividing this fan base. I've said all along that the Bears were in a great position, whether we kept Justin Fields and build around him, or if we took Caleb Williams number 1 overall. But now that we've moved past that, there's something even bigger and different about this offseason that a lot of fans are missing. When it comes to the 2024 Chicago Bears, they have an incredibly special and unique opportunity at hand. It's something that I even admittedly overlooked when I was focused on Marvin Harrison Jr. and the haul of draft picks we could get. It's having an opportunity to not only land a special quarterback prospect, but the ability to then put that quarterback in such a unique position to be successful as a rookie. I've said all along that Caleb Williams is special, but I underestimated how great of a position that we could put around a rookie quarterback and what kind of development we could do for that guy. Yes, we could have built an even better team around Justin Fields, but just for one season. The problem with that is what damage has already been done to Justin Fields in those 3 years, and how much do we have to pay him after he has that success this year? He was not properly developed. We wasted the majority of his rookie contract. This time we can properly develop a quarterback. For the first time in my life as a Bears fan, we can do right by our rookie quarterback. We can make the most out of his rookie window and put him in a position where he can come in and compete for the playoffs every year of his rookie deal. That's an amazing position for a rookie to come in and have success in the NFL. Now, that is unfair to Justin Fields, who worked so hard for 3 years in Chicago, but never got to play with a play caller like Shane Waldron or have an offense like Caleb Williams should have this year. But the bottom line is Fields still never threw for even 3,000 yards, and there just wasn't enough consistency there. Yes, I do really believe that we could have won with Justin Fields, but I see an even brighter future in Chicago where the Bears finally have a dangerous passing attack and join today's NFL. Last year, even with DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, we threw the ball the 31st most in the NFL. The only team who threw the ball less was the Baltimore Ravens. Now, a lot of that was on Luke Getsy as well, but Fields has to take some of the blame. I know it's hard to pass consistently in Chicago. It's called the Windy City for a reason. But I'm ready for a new era of Bears football. If things go right with Caleb Williams, he can destroy franchise records and tear his way through our record books in just a couple of years. We've never even had a rookie throw for 3,000 yards in a season, and we've never had any QB throw for 4,000 yards. Caleb could do both of those things in his first couple of years. The opportunity at hand here is special, and Ryan Poles will get credit for drafting his guy and putting him in a position to succeed. Even though that guy is the unanimous #1 pick, it's still about putting him in a position to succeed. The Bears need to get it right this time. I believe Caleb Williams is a special quarterback prospect. I've been saying that all along, and I believe Ryan Poles' decision is all but made by now. He still has not gotten the medicals yet on Caleb Williams, but he had dinner with him multiple times before USC's Pro Day, and they will meet again in early April in Chicago. That's when Caleb will provide his medicals. By that time, the decision should be pretty final. Poles just talked about Caleb Williams at the GM meetings. He spoke about how impressed he was with Caleb's maturity, and he said this: when you talk to his teammates, they don't like him, they love him. His leadership, how he brings people together, he's intentional with his leadership. Same with the staff. I'm having a hard time finding a single person that doesn't like him or even love him and thinks that he can reach the highest limits. The feedback has been good. It sounds like Ryan Poles is pretty much zeroed in on Caleb Williams as the next franchise quarterback in Chicago. And then another note here, Ryan Poles will be traveling to Jaden Daniels' Pro Day in 2 days. The rumor is he will not be going to Drake Maye's Pro Day, but Kerry Joseph and several other scouts will, according to an ESPN article by Courtney Cronin. But people are going to take this out of proportion and make a big deal out of it. But let's remember something here. It's a team's Pro Day, not just the quarterbacks. LSU has a ton of other stud players that Ryan Poles probably wants to see firsthand, including Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. He also went to the Michigan Pro Day, but they will probably have the most players drafted this year and a ton of guys the Bears could be interested in, not just J.J. McCarthy. Meanwhile, North Carolina doesn't have nearly as much draft talent this year, so to me, Poles doesn't need to go there. I honestly think Ryan Poles' mind is pretty much made up at the quarterback spot. They're just doing their due diligence, waiting to get Caleb's medicals, and then we'll make him the Bears' next quarterback. To me, it's time for a new era of Chicago Bears football. I think Caleb Williams could break our rookie passing records and change the story about how awful Bears quarterbacks are. It's been a running joke most of my life, saying things like the Bears' most popular QB is usually the backup, and Chicago is where wide receivers go to die. A popular quote that, if I remember correctly, came from Muhsin Muhammad. Not anymore, guys. We have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, and we should add another wideout next month. Pair that with a new franchise quarterback with special arm talent, and we could be looking at a new era of football in Chicago. Stay tuned, guys. I'll be here covering it every step of the way. Remember to hit that like button for me, and until next time, bear down.